Has Caleb Durbin finally arrived for the Boston Red Sox?
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, and today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Well, today is Monday, and we are going into this Monday after the Red Sox won a series over the weekend against the Seattle Mariners. And again, like I mentioned on Twitter the other day, this team is just the true definition of road warriors. And then it's just so strange because they turn it off at home, went from getting swept at home by the Toronto Blue Jays to then snagging a really good series win against the Mariners over the weekend. The Mariners aren't a bad baseball team. They definitely are much better than the Red Sox, at least as of right now. So it's not like they just beat up on a terrible team, but they do play the Rockies next, and that feels like it's a must-win series for the Red Sox. I mean, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to beat this team, if we're really being honest here. The Rockies right now are 30-48. Not that the Red Sox are much better, but this feels like it's a must-win series. I will repeat that over and over and over again. But they certainly took care of business generally over the weekend. Of course, thanks to the pitching as usual with Ranger Suarez and Connolly early, both pitching well. Peyton Tolley pitched the last game of the series and wasn't terrible, but definitely wasn't his best. So on today's show, I'm going to be talking all about that series, a standout player who may have finally arrived for the Red Sox, some injury updates to key players, and an incident that had social media buzzing. So has Caleb Durbin finally arrived for the Boston Red Sox? He was a big part of this series against the Seattle Mariners. He was batting in the 6th hole in game 1 of the series, and he went 3 for 4 that day with 3 runs scored, and he hit a home run as well as recorded a strikeout. But big day for him in that game, so he deserves a lot of credit for his effort in game 1 of the series. Then in game 2, the Red Sox won that game 5-1 after a 6-2 win in the first game, and in the 5-1 win, he batted 6th again, and he went 2 for 4 in that game with an RBI. So again, another productive game for Caleb Durbin. And then the Mariners took game 3 of the series 3-1, but still another big game for Durbin offensively as he went 2 for 3 in that game with a strikeout. He did also get picked off on first base, so obviously that wasn't ideal, but generally his offense has gotten a lot better. He's now up to a .215 average on the season, .269 on base percentage, and .361 slugging percentage. So he's definitely started to improve offensively in quite a few areas. Now, the key thing was that he had hit a home run in the closeout game of the series against the Blue Jays prior to that. So Thursday and Friday on back-to-back days, he hit home runs. So that was great to see from Caleb Durbin, a guy who really has been struggling overall for this Red Sox team. And just to put things into perspective, over his last 20 games, so since May 28th, he's hitting .319 with a .329 on base percentage, .611 slugging percentage, and .940 OPS. So, again, just to reiterate how good that actually is, I mean, 4 home runs, 7 doubles, 1 triple during that time. Again, with a .319 average, .329 on base percentage, .611 slugging, and .940 OPS. Good stat line. 11.8 strikeout percentage, 2.6 walk percentage. And his wins above replacement is 0.9 in that time. So those are really good stats that he's been stringing together. Also, in that time, he's recorded 12 extra base hits total and 13 RBIs in those 20 games. Just for context, also, even though Caleb Durbin overall on the season is only hitting 215 because of how much he struggled earlier on, he's been twice as valuable as Rafael Devers this season when it comes to wins above replacement, with a 1.1 versus 0.5. So that's actually pretty notable. And Chad Tracy talked about Caleb Durbin and said Durbin's working his tail off with our hitting coaches and working on a lot of the things you may have seen on social media. He was doing it all before all that stuff came out. So he's been working with some hitting coaches, and it obviously has been working for him. Now, what exactly has he been doing that has helped him to find more success at the plate? Because his recent surge at the plate is driven primarily by mechanical adjustments to his swing and a more disciplined approach to actually utilizing the whole field. So in terms of his stance and hands, he actually adopted a more upright stance and made a conscious mechanical effort to keep his hands closer to his body. So that's something that's helping him to swing with a lot more confidence. He's also been working with a private hitting coach at the Boston-based Kratom facility, and he's been focused on staying inside the ball, improving his direction towards center field, and delivering the barrel under his chest instead of around it. So that's allowed him to reach more parts of the field and take advantage of really utilizing the entirety of the field. He's also reduced grounders. He's improved his swing plane to get the ball in the air, basically meaning his motion from start to finish, lowering his ground ball rate from roughly 60% to 40%. And in terms of his approach, rather than trying to just pull everything for power, he's remained really stubborn and disciplined with his pitch selection, which has allowed him to consistently drive the baseball. And it's given him more of a confident looking approach as opposed to consistently having at-bats that aren't really productive because he's too focused on trying to just elevate the ball for power. Now he's reaching more parts of the field and he's finding different ways to have productive at-bats, and he's stringing together more hits as opposed to just hitting for power all the time. So becoming more of a contact hitter and adjusting to what he needs to be doing. So ultimately, after that Friday game in which he went 3 for 4 with a solo homer and 3 total runs scored, that put him at 5 homers on the season, 4 of which have come over his last 7 games prior to that. In June, through the Friday game, he was batting .271, which is going 13 for 48, but was still at just a .203 average with a .609 OPS on the year. So obviously, that's something that is going to take a while for him to continue to grow in because he was struggling so much early on. Those numbers aren't going to grow as quickly. But he's added 28 RBIs, 25 runs scored, 5 stolen bases, 13 doubles, and a triple over 66 contests as the Red Sox's primary starter at third base. So he's definitely getting there. And he's definitely hitting with a lot more confidence now, as we can see, not to mention the fact that his defense has been solid overall for what the Red Sox were hoping for. Because when Craig Breslow had all this talk about run prevention and all of that, Caleb Durbin is a guy who certainly has been able to deliver on that at third base. So when it comes to Durbin, he's gotten a lot of heat, obviously, because of his offensive struggles, but it's been good to see him power through that. He's, in terms of defense, been in the 80th percentile and outs above average, which is solid. But last year, he slashed .256 with a .334 on base percentage and .387 slugging percentage with a .721 OPS. So he isn't quite there yet. But now we're, of course, starting to overall see that change, which has been fantastic. So if this version of Durbin is here to stay, that's the guy they were hoping to get when they traded Kyle Harrison and David Hamilton this past offseason to the Brewers for him. That's the version of Durbin that they were picturing, a guy who was very effective defensively and was also a steady bat in the lineup. And the other key thing to note here is that if he's here to stay, it'll help to change the perception of the lineup, because Wilson Contreras, Cedar Rafaela, and Wilyer Abreu have really been the only consistently competitive bats on this Red Sox team all season. But if Durbin could add to that group, that could be huge, because now we're looking at yet another guy who could be an offensive weapon. So it's definitely been good to see the way that Durbin's been able to turn things around. And because he's been hitting better as of late, hopefully that translates to more confidence on the field for him overall. And he's able to keep that up, and he's able to continue to hit at a high level and be one of the key pieces of the Red Sox lineup moving forward. So it's definitely exciting to think about where Durbin's come. And the question is going to be, can he maintain that consistency? Because that trade will look a lot better if he starts to put up more competitive numbers offensively consistently. Speaking of guys who kind of had a hot bat going, IKF, unfortunately, has now been placed on the IL. If you're looking to score tickets for any live event, including a sporting event, comedy show, theater performance, you name it, nothing's better than actually being there live. And Gametime can hook you up with great tickets to all of those events. Obviously, I'm a big sports girly, but I also do love musical theater. I grew up around it, so I love going to see shows. So I've used Gametime multiple times to get tickets to shows on Broadway or here in Connecticut at my local theater. Plus, on top of that, great deals on sporting events too. It's a great app that gives you the advantage because it shows you the view from your seat before you buy, so you know that it's not going to be obstructed. Plus, it has zone deals, which lets you pick the section and save even more while Gametime selects the seat. It is great. I love that it does that. Plus, there's no hidden fees, whereas a lot of other vendors have fees at checkout that come up so it looks like it's a lot cheaper than it actually is. Gametime, straight to the point. Whatever you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. I don't know about you, but I'm very big on sugar, and I love having those sweet flavors in my mouth. And that's where 5-Hour Energy shots come in, because they bring that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way, because it takes out all the sugar, but you still get that taste you love. My favorite flavor personally is the cotton candy flavor. It gives you that classic cotton candy taste, but you feel a little bit healthier because it eliminates the sugar aspect of it, but also gives you a tasty caffeine boost. I like how convenient it is too, because it's just a small portable shot that you can literally grab whenever you need a little pick-me-up, and you can bring it wherever. So it's great if you're going on a long car ride or something and you need to stay awake. You can pick it up somewhere and just bring it on the road with you. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon. Get your daily Red Sox coverage completely ad-free by joining the Everydayer Club today. Start your 7-day free trial right now and get closer to your team without the interruptions. Click the link in the show notes or go to lockedonredsox.supercast.com to claim your free trial. It's a great service because it gives you access to content you won't find anywhere else. Examples, I go to interview players a lot, or coaches, etc. You can get a sense of what those interviews look like if you subscribe. So make sure you do today. The Red Sox had a good series win over the weekend against the Seattle Mariners on the backs primarily, once again, of their starting rotation. And Ranger Suarez and Connolly Early are a lot to thank for that. But they also had contributions from some offensive players, and they were able to overall get the job done. I was hoping for the sweep. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but they did still take the series on the road, which was awesome. And while Caleb Durbin may be starting to find some more competitive at-bats, IKF, on the other hand, did not receive the best news over the weekend. He's been a steady bat for this Red Sox team, especially as of late. So it's definitely unfortunate news, but he was placed on the injured list on Saturday with left forearm inflammation. He underwent an MRI after missing Friday night's game. He told reporters before that game that the arm had been bothering him for more than 2 weeks and felt even worse after the flight to Seattle. So the Red Sox said, okay, you're not going to play today. And then he ended up officially being placed on the IL on Saturday. The 31-year-old IKF is batting .277 on the season right now with 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases, playing every infield position for this team. He started 31 games for the Red Sox, and 21 of those starts have come at second base. So obviously the majority of the time, that's the position he's playing. But when the Red Sox bring in pinch hitters later in games, sometimes they switch people around. And because he's capable of playing multiple infield positions, that's why he's played more than just second base. So in his spot, the Red Sox recalled Anthony Siegler from AAA Worcester, and he ended up being in the lineup on both Saturday and Sunday, and he actually led off in both of those games, and he played second base. So in game 1 of the series, he went 1 for 4 with a run scored and 2 strikeouts. And then Andrew Monasterio came in to pinch hit for him and took over at second base and went 0 for 1 in that spot. And then on Sunday, he went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts, Siegler did, in the leadoff spot. So for the Red Sox, now he's batting .182 with a .250 on base percentage and .273 slugging percentage. So obviously he hasn't been hitting as well as the Red Sox would hope to get from somebody who comes in and gets called up. But Chad Tracy basically explained that in the meantime, for right now, while guys are getting healthy, that Anthony Siegler will most likely play in a platoon role at second base with Andrew Monasterio for right now as guys look to get healthy. But it's definitely unfortunate with IKF because he's definitely, as of late, started to really crank things up in terms of his offense, and he has been a key bat. And it's just tough because this is a guy you want out there when he's hitting, since he's so flexible in the field, and because he's been hitting well as of late, it feels like a bigger loss than maybe you would have thought it was earlier on in the season. But because he can fill multiple roles on this team, it's definitely tough to see a guy like that go down. So the plan for IKF is that he's going to stay with the team for the remainder of the road trip now, and then undergo more testing when the Red Sox return to Boston on Thursday. He doesn't exactly know for certain what's up with it, and Chad Tracy isn't completely sure what's causing all the swelling and inflammation either. And even the training staff isn't 100% certain. But what the doctors do know after that MRI on Saturday in Seattle is that the results were concerning enough for the Red Sox to place him on the 10-day injured list, retroactive to Friday. IKF said whatever the doctors saw, they said it wasn't a good idea to keep going. And then Tracy said we'll treat him up and then be able to scan him again when we get home and have a more clear understanding of what that is. So Anthony Siegler then flew in on Saturday to join them in Seattle, and that's when Tracy said that he's likely to man a platoon at second base for the near future with Monasterio. So that's kind of essentially the plan, but IKF did say that he's been dealing with the issue, which he described as sharp pain, for at least 2 weeks. Nothing that it got significantly worse during the Red Sox's last homestand, but he's just been battling this for a while, and it's just ironic that even though he kept hurting more and more, he was hitting well, going 7 for 21 across 6 games with a home run to raise his average to 277 and his OPS to 705, the latter being on track for the highest of his career. He said, it got to the point where I literally was not taking any swings before the game. My first swings were in the game because I couldn't even swing on deck. The adrenaline from Fenway gave me the opportunity to get out there and feel okay. And then after a 6-hour flight to Seattle on Thursday night, IKF woke up Friday morning with significantly more swelling. He was initially in Friday night's lineup, but was then scratched less than an hour before first pitch. And then on Saturday, he said that the external swelling was down, but the internal inflammation was still worrying the doctors. And since they don't exactly know what was causing the issue in the first place, they weren't sure what exactly playing more could lead to. So they said, let's put you on the IL for now. He said it definitely sucks, but maybe it's preventing something way bigger, which it could be. They don't want there to be an issue in the longer term. So for right now, he's on the IL, which is tough, but hopefully he'll be able to come back at some point. But speaking of utility players on the IL, Romy Gonzalez, who I spoke with on Thursday in Portland, he was a few days into his rehab stint there, and he had said he was feeling general soreness, but overall he was physically okay. And then he had a setback. He ended up being pulled 4 innings into the third game of his rehab assignment with AA Portland with left hip flexor soreness. So just to put things into perspective, when I spoke with him on Thursday in Portland, he was off that day. He wasn't scheduled to be in the Sea Dogs lineup. So then he played again on Friday, and that's when he was pulled 4 innings in because the hip flexor soreness was something that was really bothering him. So he then returned to Boston per treatment per Chad Tracy and will end up staying there at least through today. And then today, with the minor league teams being off, the Red Sox will reevaluate him and decide whether he's ready to go back out on rehab. Tracy said at least initially it looks good, but we've got to wait and see through the weekend how he feels. So ultimately, after he was taken off his rehab assignment, that's when Tracy said we're going to reevaluate. Gonzalez underwent a left shoulder arthroscopic debridement procedure in early March, missing all of spring training and the early months of the season. He then began his rehab assignment on Tuesday and went 1 for 7 with a home run and a walk. He played second base in his first rehab game and then was the DH in his second game and first base on Friday. Since coming to the Red Sox in 2024, Romy has played at least 1 inning at every defensive position aside from pitcher and catcher. He spent last year primarily on the right side of the infield, making 41 starts at first base and 32 at second. So Romy being out has also kept the Red Sox from accessing one of their primary weapons against left-handed pitchers. He had a .331 average, .378 on base percentage, and .611 slugging percentage with 7 homers and 25 RBIs and 143 plate appearances versus Southpaws last year. So that's something they're significantly missing, is his ability to hit really well against left-handed pitchers. Boston had 5 players hit 4 homers or more against lefties last year, and only 2 of them are still with the team and not on the IL. So that's been tough without Romy, because when they lost Rob Refsnyder, they justified that by saying it's okay because we have Romy still who fills a similar role. And because they haven't been able to utilize Romy at all this year, it's been tough to navigate. And they have gotten some good hits against left-handed pitching. But in general, a guy who you can put in as a pinch hitter, maybe against a left-handed reliever, or you can stack up at bats against lefties, they just don't have that fully right now. And they've been putting IKF in that role. But Romy's season last year, it was even more effective than what we've seen from IKF. So the question from today is now going to be, how does Romy look? Is he going to be ready to go back out on rehab, or is he going to need to take some more time? But if he goes back out on rehab, he'll likely go to Worcester this week because the Woo Sox are playing at home So that's the closest for him. And then he'll probably get some at-bats there before he eventually comes back to the major league team. It's unfortunate because when I spoke with him on Thursday, he said his goal was to be activated by the series against the Yankees that the Red Sox have at home this week. But it's tough to feel like he'll definitely be activated by then when there's this whole situation now with his setback. He'll still need to get some more at-bats in because he could have gotten more reps in over the whole weekend in Portland, but that wasn't unfortunately able to happen. So we'll have to see what happens there. But it's interesting the way they're going to navigate these utility guys because now they have Anthony Siegler back up, who's making his second stint with the big league club. He went 1 for 3 with a double in 2 games earlier in the month. And in 37 games with the Woo Sox, he's hitting .290 with an .844 OPS and 23 RBIs. The Red Sox are also down Trevor Story, along with Nick Sogard and Tristan Casas. So the infield is a little banged up right now. And it's been tough, but they have to try to do what they can to navigate the situation. So we'll have to see what happens overall when it comes to IKF and Romy and the injury situation. But coming up, did Alex Cora take a jab at Rafael Devers? Baseball season is here, and now you can trade every single game on Kalshi. So the way that this works is you go on their website, essentially, KALSHI.com, and it'll make you sign up with an email address, but then you can trade on any game. So, for example, if you type in Red Sox, you pull up Boston versus Colorado, which is the first thing that comes up. It gives the Red Sox a 53% chance. So if you click on yes to that, you can type in how much money on the side you want to contribute. So if you type in $100 on the side, it'll tell you exactly what the payout could be if you choose to trade on that. So you can trade every single game on Kalshi, and now that it's the World Cup too, I was seeing a lot of the World Cup games in there. USA, I know, plays its next game on Thursday night if you want to trade on that game. So it's a lot of fun. So it's pretty cool to try it out and at least try to see how it works. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. Well, we saw a good series over the weekend by the Red Sox, who won the series against the Seattle Mariners. And while it was a good series win, they need to continue to do that. And every time they win a series, they go and they just play bad baseball and they lose the next series. This is a great way to gain some momentum, given that the Rockies are the next team they are playing. That feels like it's a must-win series because it's the Colorado Rockies, who are the worst team in Major League Baseball and have been for years now. So they've got to win that series, but hey, I'm not putting anything past this team. But while Red Sox fans are hoping for a more entertaining team on the field, there certainly hasn't been a lack of entertainment off the field. And Alex Cora added to that entertainment yesterday. So essentially what happened was Rafael Devers in a Giants game yesterday expressed verbal and visible frustration with a pinch running decision amid a 1-run loss to the Marlins. So essentially, Jonah Cox was sent in to pinch run, and Devers was seen trying to shoo him away at first base because he didn't want a pinch runner to be used. And Cox looked really confused because Devers was basically trying to say, no, go back to the dugout. I do not want you to be out here, which is such a terrible look by Devers in the middle of the game. The team was attempting to rally down 1 run in the top of the 9th inning against the Marlins, and Devers reached first base on a walk, and then Giants manager Tony Vitello was about to pinch run for Devers in hopes of adding speed on the bases to tie the game, which is so common in a tight one-run game. So Cox ran toward first base while Devers tried to shoo him away and essentially pleaded from first base to stay in the game, while Cox was caught in the middle of the ordeal. Devers did walk back to the dugout, but he kind of threw a fit about it because it was clear that he didn't want to be removed from the game. Jung-Hoo Lee was the next Giants batter. He ended up flying out, and then Willy Adames grounded into a double play. So the Marlins secured the 2-1 win. But it was just not a good look by Devers. You do what's best for the team in that moment. And Vitello actually seemed to understand Devers' reasoning for wanting to stay in the game, but also knew that Devers was battling some leg soreness. And he had said that once he made the decision to have Cox come into the game, there was no turning back. So just going with what our best effort is to win the game, Vitello said. Obviously, you'd like to get Jonah to go get it back. You know, he's relatively quick to the plate, but on a double, going with our best chance to be able to score. Vitello said he didn't think the situation warranted another conversation with Devers outside of their daily chats, but it's definitely a tough look because we have heard of similar things happening with the Red Sox during Devers' time in Boston, with him refusing to do certain things like moving to first base when he was asked to, when Tristan Casas got hurt, or even moving to DH when the Red Sox decided they wanted to try to go after Alex Bregman. So there were certain things with Rafael Devers that weren't necessarily a good look for him in terms of professional manner. And that was a big reason why the Red Sox decided to move on from him, because they felt like, in their view, obviously we don't always know what happened exactly behind the scenes, but in their view, Devers refused to do what they asked him to do. And therefore they said, all right, we're going to trade him. And Alex Cora, after this whole incident with Rafael Devers, went on social media yesterday and basically made a cryptic tweet. And it seemed like it was in reference to that, because the tweet that was sent out came shortly after this whole incident with Rafael Devers. So he tweeted but, and then the emoji with the face and the mouth closed, and basically saying my lips are sealed, because with the zipper in the emoji, basically saying like, yep, I'm going to stay silent here. So he said, but, and then that. So it's a very cryptic thing, but a lot of people put two and two together following the post. And there were some tweets that went out of people reacting to it. Somebody saying Father's Day 2025, Red Sox trade Rafael Devers. Father's Day 2026, recently fired Red Sox manager Alex Cora. Subtweets Rafael Devers, what a strange 12 months it's been in Boston. One of the Red Sox beat writers tweeted, which is interesting, what a fitting way to celebrate his trade from last Father's Day. I heard he got equally pissed at Cora one time for getting pinch run for, but that one was kept behind the scenes. So obviously, if you're a beat writer and you're saying that, there's obviously probably some truth to that. And people were reacting, saying, you know, definitely about Devers, cryptic Cora, etc. I need the Alex Cora tell-all memoir yesterday. So a lot of funny tweets reacting to it. But what is this essentially saying? Alex Cora might essentially be saying, see, I told you, you know, a lot of people place the blame on me or on us for the whole Rafael Devers situation, and basically saying it was an organizational problem. But here we are, Devers giving his other manager a problem by not wanting a pinch runner to come into the game. So here we are. So obviously Alex Cora didn't say all of that. And at first when I saw the tweet, I thought it might have been about the Red Sox. I thought it might have been about the fact that the Red Sox are so struggling. But then I saw the Devers incident, and then that's when I realized, no, it's definitely about that. And Alex Cora is just being very cryptic and saying that because he's not going to come out and say directly, yeah, I tried to tell you that Rafael Devers was an issue in this Red Sox clubhouse. So it's definitely kind of funny. And it goes to show that Alex Cora is probably sitting on a beach somewhere laughing because he got out of a messy situation in Boston. But definitely an interesting thing to determine, because Alex Cora is sitting here basically saying, yep, see, here we go again. It wasn't just a Red Sox issue. It was more of a Rafael Devers issue. And it just, once again, highlights just the incompetencies that have gone on within the Red Sox organization over the last year or so. Just a lot of things that have gone on that are not ideal, and just a lot of issues ever since Devers was traded, ever since Alex Cora and the coaching staff were fired. Just a lot of things over the last year that have taken place that have made the Red Sox organization just look like they're all over the place, which they really are. And the team on the field right now overall hasn't given them much to be excited about either. So there's been a lot of things going on here, but Alex Cora tweeting in the cryptic way that he did definitely was trying to send a message of, see, I told you, take with that what you will. And here we are with Devers again. So caused a lot of social media buzz, but you look back on it and you think, wow, the Red Sox looked like such idiots in the moment when they traded Rafael Devers in June last year, of people saying, what are we doing? But then you look back on a situation like this, like what happened yesterday, and you say, wow, were Craig Breslow and company onto something when they moved on from him, because they knew maybe he was just an issue and that maybe that wouldn't get any better. So definitely interesting, but I wonder if Alex Cora is thinking about taking another managerial position anytime soon, or if he's just going to chill and enjoy his vacation. Either way, the Red Sox product on the field still needs to get better. That's a fact that continues to be a thing. So we'll have to see what goes down there. But thank you so much for tuning in to Locked On Red Sox and for making it your first listen of every single day. Make sure to keep tuning in Monday through Friday and subscribe and follow the show on any podcast platform so you get all of the latest episodes. You can also follow me on social media at Gabby Maljanian on Twitter and at Gabby_Maljanian10 on Instagram. You can also follow the show on Twitter at LO_Red Sox. Plus, if you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Red Sox ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to LockedOnRedSox.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we now send you to the first ever 24/7 national Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, for your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB. Thanks so much as always. Keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.